It's something that I'll never forget, and my wife and I talk about that all the time. That's a great point, Bill, because I'll share a story with you. When I was 19, I already had my son and my wife, and I got exposed to insurance early on, and I always
Okay.
worried about if something happened to me, what would happen to them. And so I always think back to this time frame because, when you're in the early years in young families, I remember a neighbor of ours, very similar, Mike and Katie, very similar in age, had two young children, two young boys, and they would actually even babysit my son. And I remember you would, like you said, you would never you've got the mindset of invincibility. You're in your early 20s. What's going to happen to you? You're healthy, you're active, but you know unexpectedly, a few years later, we found that Katie had a stroke and passed away. They found her
Oh,
unconscious in the bathroom. And so it's something that I'll never forget, and my wife and I talk about that all the time. It's like, you remember Mike and Katie, and what would have happened if they had the foresight at that time to have a policy,
true.
protect your family, and people don't think about that. And so it's one of the things that's really important, dear to me, is certainly we work with a lot of people in retirement that have grown assets, but for those that are just starting out, I'm just an advocate of making sure that you check that box. You have a responsibility when you have family, and you definitely want to make sure that they're protected and can live on in your absence.